Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter-Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Cold War drama with Dana Andrews as Matt Cvetic and I Was a Communist for the FBI. This episode, entitled The Crossed Heart, was originally broadcast June 3rd, 1953.
I was a communist for the FBI. Starring Dana Andrews and an exciting tale of danger and espionage. I was a communist for the FBI. From the actual records and authentic experiences of Matt Cvetic come many of the incidents in this unusual story. Here is our star, Dana Andrews, as Matt Cvetic, who for 9 fantastic years lived as a communist for the FBI. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. You'll find that quotation in the Bible. I found the proof of it in the Communist Party. It wasn't hard to find at all, but believe me, it was brutally hard to accept. This story will illustrate what I mean. Now, here is Dana Andrews as Matt Cvetic, Undercover Man. This story from the confidential file is marked The Crossed Heart. A strange town miles from home. You know what it's like. You walk the streets looking for secrets or surprises. Study the crowds, the blur of bland, impersonal faces, seeking someone you might know, something familiar to give you that sense of belonging. That's how it usually is with strangers. But I was an unusual stranger. My visit to this town was sponsored by the Communist Party. I wasn't permitted to take my natural instincts with me. Every instinct, every action and reaction was planned and prescribed by my far-seeing red comrades. I was to report to this address, a private residence. I was to ask for a Mrs. Breen. Then I was to let nature, as authorized by the commies, take its course.
Well, how do you do?
Good evening. I'm looking for Mrs. Breen.
I'm Mrs. Breen. Won't you come in?
You?
Come in, young man, come in. Or you'll catch your death out there.
This little old lady, the shawl, the white hair, the rimless glasses? No. She was the type you write songs about, not the sort you associate with reds. I followed her through the gloomy, age-heavy house into a room that had been set aside as a little office. Watching her gestures, so gentle, so prim and proper, I felt sure that somehow the commies, or I, had made a mistake.
There we are. It's so much more comfortable in here, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Now, let me see. Oh, I'm forever misplacing those applications. Here we are. Your name, please?
Cvetic. Matt Cvetic.
S or C?
C. C-V-E-T-I-C. Mrs. Breen, I think...
Your age?
I think there's been some...
Well, never mind. Let's just say over 30, under 40. All right?
All right.
Now, I'd say you're, about 6 feet tall.
About that.
Now, any preference as to types?
Types of what?
Oh, silly girls, of course.
Girls? Look,
Now, nothing to worry about. All information is strictly confidential. Our service is licensed by the state.
What kind of service?
Well, same as anywhere else. Once you subscribe, I give you 3 names and telephone numbers, chosen according to your personal tastes and specifications. If you aren't satisfied, just call in and I'll give you 3 more. $15 for a month's service, $25 for 3 months.
That's The usual rate?
No, now, don't start fretting. I've been expecting you, comrade. Forgive me for confusing you so. We just have to be so very careful, you know.
I know.
Now, I've arranged a date for you for tonight.
A date?
Well, that's why you're here, isn't it?
Is it? I'm not the least bit sure why I'm here, Comrade Breen.
Mrs. Breen, Mr. Cvetic. We must be careful. Must.
Okay. Well, tell me about my date.
Her name is Clara Malone, a good client. A very important client to the club.
I see.
She's a widow with quite a bit of money. Rather pretty, too. You'll call for her, take her to dinner, and most important, you'll collect an envelope from her.
What's in it?
Money. She owes the club some money. See that you bring it to me immediately. Now, here's her name, her phone number, her address.
Here you are. Vika, this is Red.
Oh, good.
I just joined a Lonely Hearts Club.
What?
A Lonely Hearts Club. Some kind of commie front.
How come?
Well, I don't know yet. I'll know more after tonight.
What's tonight?
My first date. Clara Malone, a wealthy widow, I understand. I called her a while ago and got no answer.
Well, keep at it, Matt. If we can do anything from this office.
Well, not yet. Just be there when I need you. Still no answer on Clara Malone's line. It was getting late now. Mrs. Breen's place was closed, and I couldn't risk violating party orders. So I decided to go directly to the address Mrs. Breen had given me. Maybe by the time I got there, Clara Malone would have arrived, too. She wasn't home yet, I guess. Well, I could see a light in her apartment through the crack in the door. But either she was out or she...
Hello.
This might be Clara Malone. She didn't look like she needed a Lonely Hearts Club to supply her with dates, but then you never know. She came straight for this apartment.
Looking for someone?
Oh, yes. I was looking for Miss Malone.
I'm Miss Malone.
Clara Malone?
Oh, no, I'm Judith, Clara's sister. Isn't she home yet?
Well, she hasn't answered the door.
That's funny. Is there anything I can do?
Not exactly. See, Clara and I have a date for tonight.
Oh. Well, come on in, then. She should be home any minute.
All right.
She might have run down to the store or...
What's the matter?
Clara! Clara! Oh, no. No. Clara.
What is it? What's the... Holy smokes. Clara Malone had a good reason for not answering the door. She was dead. My first instincts told me to get out of there fast. But from the looks of things, her death was a suicide. And Judith wasted no time in calling the police. The police inspector, a tired, shabby little guy named Bychek, thought it was a suicide, too, but he wasn't sure. And in his job, he had to be sure.
Sorry we had to bring you two all the way down here, but you know how it is. Sit down, Miss Malone.
Thank you, Inspector.
Yeah, you too. What's your name again?
Cvetic.
That's right. You were a friend of the deceased, Cvetic?
No, I never saw her before tonight. This is my first day in town.
Well, you told me you had a date with Clara.
Well, yes, it was a blind date. A mutual friend.
How about it, Miss Malone? This guy a friend of your sister's?
I don't know, Inspector.
Don't you share that apartment with your sister?
Yes, but Clara dated a lot of men I knew nothing about. Too many, I suppose.
Too many?
She's been terribly unhappy since her husband died. Lonely and unhappy.
Any special reason for killing herself? Finances?
No. She inherited a lot of money from her husband. She didn't care about money much. Inspector, do you think it wasn't suicide? I mean, do you think that Clara was...
Oh, it looks like suicide, all right, Miss Malone. Probably is. But the coroner's report isn't in yet. There are a few funny angles to this mess.
But who? Who would want to hurt Clara? She
was a lonely widow. She had money. She dated a lot of strange guys. Too many, you said. Like Cvetic here. Somehow he knew her phone number and address, but he didn't know her.
Now, just a minute, Inspector.
I'm a cop, Cvetic. My job don't give me much time to trust people.
Listen,
Never mind, skip it. In go, both of you. Sorry for all the trouble, Miss Malone.
It's all right, Inspector.
I won't heckle you unless it's necessary.
Thank you.
Say, Cvetic.
What?
You'd better stay around town a while. If the coroner comes in with any surprise decisions, we'll want you for questioning.
I couldn't leave town anyway. I was under orders from the Reds. But I couldn't let the police know that. I had some vital questions to put to sweet old Mrs. Breen, like how did the Reds figure in Clara's death? If it was murder, was I to be the patsy for the party? But she wasn't to be found. Her house was dark, locked up. I waited around a while. No use. I headed for my hotel to get some sleep.
Oh, good evening, Comrade Cvetic. You're back early.
How did you get in here?
Now, please don't be angry with me. I told the room clerk I was your mother, and I wanted to surprise you.
Well, you did. You're full of surprises.
I just didn't want you to be burdened too long with that envelope. Temptation, you know.
What envelope?
Why, the envelope you collected from Clara.
She's dead, Mrs. Breen. Cold stone dead.
What are you talking about?
You know full well what I'm talking about. Clara Malone was dead when I got to her apartment. It looks like suicide, but it may be murder.
Murder?
Skip the performance, Mrs. Breen, and get this straight. If that phone rings, it'll be the police.
It's been ringing all evening.
Oh?
It will probably ring again.
Well, if it does, it's because the cops have a good reason to suspect me of killing Clara Malone. I'll have to tell them about you and your Lonely Hearts Club.
No, Comrade Cvetic. You mustn't do that.
No? Watch.
The party can't afford to be involved in that sort of thing. If you did that, we'd see that you... The phone, Comrade Cvetic. Well, aren't you going to answer it?
Look, if it's the police, I'm going to...
Just remember, young man, the police operate according to bourgeois concepts of justice. The party has its own concepts.
Yeah, I know.
You'd better answer the phone. Answer it, comrade, right now.
Hello?
June 3rd, 1953, I was a communist for the FBI on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Medishare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medishare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medishare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of I Was a Communist for the FBI, starring Dana Andrews. From June 3rd, 1953, The Crossed Heart.
to Dana Andrews, starring as Matt Cvetic in I Was a Communist for the FBI, and the second act of our story.
The telephone can be an instrument of torture, and right now, I was its victim. The receiver was at my ear. I'd spoken a greeting into the mouthpiece. Then there was a moment's silence. Bitter, excruciating silence. A glance at Mrs. Breen, standing at my elbow, told me that a murder charge would be delightful compared to what the commies would do to me if I told the truth to the police.
Hello, Cvetic?
Yes?
Inspector Cvetic at police headquarters. I've been trying to get you all evening.
What do you want?
You? Better get down here for some more questioning.
Now? Well, it's pretty late.
Now.
You got the coroner's report?
Yeah. You coming down here, or should I send a car up for you?
Well, I'll be down.
I was saying, comrade, the party has its own way of treating those who violate its confidence.
You mean they let me be charged with a murder I didn't commit?
Well, what can they do, comrade? After all, what's more important, the life of one young man or the life of the proletariat revolt?
Okay, come in, Cvetic. Sit down. No, over here. You look nervous.
It's late, Inspector, and I'm tired.
Me too. We got the coroner's report on Clara Malone. He's satisfied that it's suicide.
Well, then what do you want?
I'm not satisfied. Cvetic, why'd you come to this city?
Business?
What business?
Just business.
Business with Clara Malone?
No, that was just a date.
Yeah, arranged by a mutual friend. A business associate? All right. Here, look. The report from Clara Malone's bank. She inherited $300,000 when her husband died. Look what's left. She's practically broke.
Where did it go?
Wherever it went during the last year or so. Somebody was bleeding this dame dry, Cvetic. She has a couple of kids away at an exclusive private school, but...
She has?
You didn't know that?
No.
Cvetic, I warn you. Either you tell us what you know, or...
Don't threaten me, Inspector.
Well, then talk, you idiot. I'm trying to give you a break. Clara Malone was the victim of a shakedown, Cvetic. Whoever's responsible is just as responsible for her suicide, directly or indirectly. In spite of you, I intend to find out who and why and how.
Well, I wish I could help, Inspector.
Yeah, I'll bet. Okay, Cvetic, get out. Get out of here.
Secretly, I hoped Inspector Cvetic would fulfill his threat. I left police headquarters praying silently that he'd be able to pin his suspicions on Mrs. Breen and the commies. But I couldn't help him. Oh, sure, I might have been noble and named names, but nobility comes hard when you know the commie technique for vengeance. The streets of this strange city were even stranger now. They were empty, silent, wet with that pre-dawn mist.
Cvetic,
What?
in here, hurry.
Sorry, pal, I'm going the other way.
In the car, Cvetic. Get in.
Hey, what's the big idea? Let go of that...
Get in, I said. In.
Good. Thank you, George. Any trouble?
No trouble, Comrade Breen.
You keep mighty odd hours for a woman of your age, Mrs. Breen.
I'm dedicated to my work. It makes a difference. That's all for now, George.
Okay.
Are you all right, Comrade Cvetic?
No, I don't like being shoved around by that goon boy of yours.
Please, Comrade Cvetic. I'd like to know what you told the police.
Nothing.
Oh, now, Comrade.
If I did tell them anything about you or this club, don't you think you'd know by now?
Well, you're right, of course. Do the police know anything about us?
Just hunches. The coroner called Clara Malone's death a suicide. But the inspector thinks there's blackmail involved.
Where did he learn that?
Well, he's not a fool, you know. He checked Clara's bank account and learned that she went through a lot of money in a big hurry.
I wonder how much that sister of hers knows.
Not too much from what I could see.
We've got to be sure, comrade. We've got to be sure.
Well, she
Would you mind finding out for me, please?
What?
Well, you've met Judith. You've talked with her. Find out what she knows about the club, the blackmail, anything. If she knows more than she should, then...
Then what?
We'll see. We'll see. Your job now is to find out what she knows before she tells the police.
The commie web was being spun again. This time the victim was to be Judith Malone. I had to keep her free of that web somehow. But I had to keep myself clear of the web, too. Maybe there was a way, some way, to turn the web against the spinner. To strangle the commies with their own vicious weapon. It was worth a try. One good try.
Beaker?
Beaker, this is Red.
Hi, what's up?
I need some bugs and lines, fast.
Small Max, okay. They don't know you at the local field office, do they?
No.
All right, I'll call them from here. Is there a grocery store near you? Any grocery store?
Yeah, Rogers Market down the street.
There'll be a package for you there in an hour. What name do you want to use?
Oh, Matthews.
Okay. Pick up your groceries in an hour, Mr. Matthews.
June 3rd, 1953, I Was a Communist for the FBI on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of I Was a Communist for the FBI, June 3rd, 1953, The Crossed Heart.
And my groceries were waiting for me in an hour. The package was camouflaged pretty well, but I knew the equipment I needed was there. Coils of wire, small microphones, earphones, the works. My next step was to call Mrs. Breen and tell some whoppers.
You mean she knows the whole story?
Yeah, Clara told her everything. But Judith has a pretty sensible attitude about it.
Has she told the police yet?
Oh, she's more sensible than that. There's one simple way to keep Judith quiet.
Oh, don't be foolish. We can't use violence now. It would just create more suspicion.
Violence, no. Terms, yes.
Did she tell you that?
She hinted at it pretty strongly. You'd better phone her, make an appointment. Make her an offer.
Shall I visit her place?
No, cops all over the neighborhood.
Well, how can I get her to come here?
Tell her you realize that silence is golden. Tell her you have some important information about her sister. That should do it, I hope. I checked in at Mrs. Breen's place later and learned that she'd made an appointment with Judith Malone for 8:30 that night. About 6 o'clock, Mrs. Breen decided to go out for a bite to eat.
Want to join me, Comrade Cvetic?
No, thanks. I'll stay here. Judith may change her mind. I can't take any chances.
Well, you're probably right. Incidentally, you'll be here tonight when I see her, won't you?
You don't want me here. Too many of us might overemphasize the importance, make her boost the price even more.
All right.
And remember, she's quite a little actress. She'll play the innocent role right up to the hilt. But don't let her fool you.
Don't worry, young man. I'll be back soon.
Take your time. I've nothing to do anyway. There was plenty to do, of course. As soon as Mrs. Breen was gone, I unwrapped my groceries, which I'd hidden in the shrubs outside the house. As quickly as possible, I wired her office for sound. One tiny microphone under the rug near her desk, another near the big armchair. I ran the wires up behind the draperies, out the windows, and into the shrubs, where the miniature recording setup would be located. Back in the little office, I was about to test the microphones when...
Cvetic, where's Mrs. Breen?
Well, she went out for something to eat. Why?
That Malone dame is here.
Now? Well, I thought 8:30 was...
She says she was nervous. Couldn't wait. I better get Comrade Breen.
Oh, no, I'll go. I know where she's eating. Have you been here in the house all this time?
Sure. Where'd you think I'd be? Why?
Nothing. Just curious, that's all. I went out the back door to avoid Judith. There was no chance to test the equipment now. No chance for anything but cold, naked luck. When Mrs. Breen went inside to meet Judith, I ducked behind the shrubbery, switched on the recorder, adjusted the earphone, and prayed. Oh, come on, pick it up. Pick it up. Come on, please. Pick it up. Please.
About time we got straight to the point, Miss Malone. I'm willing to pay any reasonable price for your silence.
Silence? What have I to be silent about?
Oh, let's stop playing possum, young lady. We'll go to any lengths to stop you from telling the police what you know. We prefer to do business on a purely financial basis. So here are my terms, and I expect you to accept them.
Did you get a decent recording of it, Matt?
We have all we need to hang the blackmail charge on Mrs. Breen and the local commie, Speaker.
Good. I'll let the police know it was an FBI operation, that our file on Mrs. Breen indicated that kind of checkup.
Okay. That'll clear me with the party. Be sure the local papers get the same story.
And I'll phone Inspector Bycheck to tell him to expect the record.
He has it already.
So soon?
I had it delivered to him direct. But you'd better call and explain what it's all about.
I'll do it right now. See you soon, Matt.
Yeah, Beaker. Soon. Later, I stood in the shadows across the street from Mrs. Breen's house. A police car was parked at the curb. One by one, I saw the lights in the house blink out. Then the door opened, and Inspector Bycheck came out with Judith, Mrs. Breen, and the red goon, George. When the car drove away, the street became a dark ribbon of silence stretched across the strange city. Again, walking across town, I felt the hollow distinction that only a stranger can feel. But I'd be a stranger in any city, anywhere. I had to be. It was my job. I had to walk alone. This is Dana Andrews, friends, with a reminder that most precious commodities increase in value as they become less accessible. But freedom is the one exception. The more the world sees of it, the more valuable it becomes. Let's increase the value of our freedom by sharing it with the world. In this story, as in all others, names, dates, and places are fictitious to protect innocent persons. Next week, another fantastic adventure. Join us, won't you?
May 3rd, 1953, I Was a Communist for the FBI on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
It's a big, bold story set in the heartland of America, along the edge of Lonely Mountain. I am open for business. And so Big William Gorgon, played by handsome Michael James, fiercely set down his Midwest roots.
Oh, darling, we're going to sell bathrobes and raise chickens.
Set his adoring wife, Wilhelmina, portrayed by beautiful Glenda Olsen.
Oh, I love our store, Will.
But they hadn't counted on Big Ralph's bathrobes and cattle store coming to town.
Oh, Will, what will we do, Will?
Will had a plan, a way of facing off against tough Big Ralph. We're going to change the face of America. We're going to advertise.
Adver what?
With print, broadcasting, and bus benches, we're going to tell people who we are and where we are.
What's a bus?
And so the story of how one man brought advertising to the heartland.
Oh, will it work?
It will. Well, my name ain't Will, Wilhelmina. We got to advertise or we'll die. And so the greatest marketing story of all time is here. Advertise or die, dopey.
Put your message on this national advertising platform. Email classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. Now we go back to January 3rd, 1948, Lum-n-Abner, as they begin to deal with the issues of owning a circus.
And now let's see what's going on down in Pine Ridge. Well, as we look in on the little community today, we find Lum-n-Abner in the Jot 'em Down store telling Ben Withers the details of their newest business venture. Listen.
And you're actually going into the circus game, Lum, is that it?
Yeah, looks like it, Ben. We've hired Squire to sort of run things. He's a good circus man, you know.
Well, to hear him tell it he is, leastways.
Of course, there's one thing about him that kind of worries me. Just feared he'll get us into a batch of trouble if he don't stick closer to the truth.
To the truth?
Yeah, I don't know about him painting Cedric up that way and claiming he's a wild man from Borneo. You know he ain't from Borneo.
No, he's a local boy. Well, I'll say one thing. They sure fooled me when I first looked at Cedric yesterday, all painted up that way. His hair all frizzed up and them earrings on him. Well, facts is, his own folks never knowed him when he got home. Run him right off the place. Oh, they didn't do that. They done it. They was all setting down at the supper table, and Cedric stuck his head in the door and just scared the daylights out of him.
Well, I reckon he would. Look up and see a face like that.
Oh, Lord, and it scared the stock, too. Caleb never got all the pigs rounded up till after midnight, he claimed. Oh, sure. And two of the young'uns are still up under the house this morning. He tried to toll them out with breakfast, and they just wouldn't come out. Feared he's going to have to tear up the front porch to get to them.
Well, what I don't see is why Cedric didn't wash that coloring off before he went home.
Well, he couldn't, Lum. It won't come off. That was walnut stain that Squire painted him with. Walnut stain? Yes, sir. Oh, my stars to Betsy. That's a regular dye. It's highly impossible to get that off.
Oh, for pity's sake.
Yes. So Cedric's paw's mad enough to bite. He was down at the barber shop this morning looking for Squire. He says he's just going to beat the daylights out of him. Fine. Says he don't want his boy to be an actor.
Actor?
Yes, sir.
Oh, for pity's sake.
Having him put on a wild man exhibit and all that. Caleb says he don't want his boy to grow up to be an actor 'cause he don't trust him.
Well, I don't think he's got to worry about Cedric ever being an actor.
Yes, bright young boy, Cedric.
But I'd sure hate to have that Caleb looking for me to give me a whooping. He just don't know his own strength.
Oh, no, special when you get him mad.
Oh, I seen him hit a mule right twixt the ears there with his bar fist one day and knocked him flat.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Just 'cause the mule kicked at him.
Well, he's high-strung, you know. And stout as he is, no telling what he would do to a feller. You know, I think it's glandular. Huh? Yes.
You know, somebody ought to tell Squire or warn him so's he can keep out of Caleb's way.
Well, I tried to find him this morning, tell him, but I couldn't locate him no place. He's more than likely heard about it, and he's just hiding out somewhere.
Then maybe you ought to give him a little police protection. Only don't get too close to Caleb while you're protecting Squire.
Well, if you see Squire, tell him to drop down to the jailhouse. I'll be glad to lock him up till Caleb cools down a little. I don't think my other prisoners would object to him too much. Well, he might could do that. Of course, I believe that Caleb could bend them iron bars over the windows and crawl right in there if he's a mind to do it. Now, here might be another idea. Do you have a Ferris wheel with your circus? No, we don't.
No.
Let Squire get in one of the Ferris wheel seats and spin him up to the top and leave him there until things blow over. Yeah, but what if Caleb sees him up there and gets on the Ferris wheel too? Let him. Start up the Ferris wheel. When Caleb's up, Squire will be down. When Squire's up, Caleb will be down.
Never the twain shall meet, as the saying goes.
I know that's right. That would work, wouldn't it?
Fine. You know, this reminds me of the time Braven Nudloff became involved with the Ferris wheel in 1939. Spring, late spring it was. Just goes to show what can happen, doesn't it?
Doesn't what?
Yes. Little did Braven Nudloff realize what tricks fate had in store for him when the carnival hit Mount Ida that spring.
Well,
Braven was scheduled to be married that afternoon, so he decided to take a last single ride on the Ferris wheel. He paid his dime, got on, sat down. The man fastened the wooden rod in front of him, turned on the machinery, and they were off.
Hooray!
Well, just as Braven reached the top of the Ferris wheel, the machinery broke down, isolating Braven from his friends on the ground, including his bride-to-be.
Oh, what a shame.
Well, it was soon determined by the mechanic who operated the Ferris wheel that they'd have to send to the Arnson Metal Works of Cleveland, Ohio for a new part to repair the machinery, and this would take a week or 10 days.
Why, that's the saddest thing I ever hear.
The bride-to-be, hearing of the sad plight of Braven, her betrothed, took the minister over to the foot of the Ferris wheel and instructed him to proceed with the wedding ceremony.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
However, a rather stiff gale blew up about that time, causing Braven, who was never hardy, to come down with an attack of acute laryngitis.
Oh, my sakes alive.
Thus preventing Braven from saying I do in a voice sufficiently loud to be heard by his bride-to-be and the minister. Well, in the week following, while the bride-to-be was waiting for Braven to recover his voice, and while the mechanic was waiting for the part from the Arnson Metal Works of Cleveland, Ohio, the bride-to-be and the mechanic became rather well acquainted and were married in a simple but impressive double ring ceremony.
Well, what about poor Braven? Did they just leave him up there?
Only for a short while. The Arnson Metal Works replied that they'd be unable to supply the part, and it was necessary to secure it from the Bentley Gear and Boiler Company of Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania.
Well, gentlemen.
Oh, howdy, Squire. Granny, you oughtn't to be out gallivanting around on the streets this way,
No,
Squire.
you better lay low for a few days, Squire.
Well, why? What's the matter? What's wrong, man?
What's wrong? Ain't you saw Caleb Weehunt today?
Caleb Weehunt? Why, yes, I just now talked to him over at his blacksmith shop, and I hired him.
Hired him?
Yes, Lum, he's going to put on a strongman act in the sideshow for us.
Well, if that don't beat the bugs of fighting.
Well, didn't he even whop you one time?
Why, no, of course not, Abner.
Oh, Swan, Squire, you're the beatenest feller I ever seen in my life. You could talk yourself out of my nigh anything, I believe.
Well, Caleb was a little mad there at first, but he got over it. I made him a nice offer for his act, and from there on he dropped his objections to Cedric performing in the circus.
Well, good.
Of course, now we're still pretty short of performers, and they're hard to pick up right now, found that out, at our prices. So it looks like I'm going to have to call on you men to take part in some of the acts.
Take part in it, us?
Fine.
Yes, now, Lum, I'm sort of figuring on making a trapeze artist out of you.
Trapeze?
Yeah.
You mean you want me to get up there in them swings and draw pictures?
That's the idea. No, Lum, I want you to swing back and forth.
Oh, jump from one of them to the other.
Yes, trapeze performer.
Oh, you said artist.
Makes a highly spectacular spectacle.
Yes, it does. Of course, now, Lum, don't worry. We'll have a net underneath there, so if you do happen to fall, you won't hurt yourself.
Well, Squire, I don't know nothing about trapezing.
Oh, well, you'll catch on to it with a little practice, Lum. Now, here's a costume I found in one of those trunks they left in a tent over there. You can wear that. By the way, maybe you better slip it on and see how it fits, too, Lum.
That's a costume?
Yes, right there. That's
There ain't enough clothes in there to pad a crutch.
Well, they're regular trapeze performers' tights is what they are, Lum.
Well, I'll step back in the feed room and put 'em on. I know I'll look aside in 'em, though.
Yes, we'll do that.
Well, ain't you going to let me do nothing, Squire?
Oh, yes, indeed, Abner. I'm figuring on you being the bearded lady.
Well, the bearded lady? Me a woman?
Well, you have the whiskers for it, Abner.
Yes, with those chin whiskers of yours, you're all set. Put some women's clothes on you and wear a wig, and your best friend wouldn't know you.
Dogged, I hope not if I'm going to go around in an outfit like that.
I think you'd look good in lavender, Abner. Go nice with your gray hair.
Now, the next thing we've got to get is an animal trainer.
Yes?
Got to have somebody to train the cats. Need somebody with a lot of nerve.
Well, let me do that, Squire, and get somebody else to be the bearded woman.
Abner, you mean you'd go in a cage there with the cats and put 'em through their tricks?
Why, sure. Why not?
Well, that's all right with me, Abner. But that's pretty risky, you know.
Well, I don't know what's so risky about learning some cats a few tricks. I'll learn them how to shake hands with me and roll over and play dead and all that stuff.
Well, what I want you to work on is something more on the order of training one of them to let you put your head in his mouth.
Yes, that makes a nice trick.
Well, it'd be nice, all right, but I don't believe their mouth is big enough for that, Squire.
Oh, I don't know, Abner. Both lions and tigers have rather tremendous-sized mouths.
Highly tremendous.
Yeah, but I don't... Hey, lions and tigers.
Fine.
You never said nothing about lions and tigers, Squire. You said cats.
Well, Abner, in the parlance of the circus, tigers and lions are always referred to as cats, you know. I thought you knew it.
This all there is to this outfit?
Now, listen, Squire, I ain't getting in no cage.
Oh, my stars, love, you're out of sight.
Grannies, I wouldn't get out in front of nobody with a get-up like this on.
Oh, that's rich.
Turn around, Lum. Let us get a good look at you there.
Swan Lum, you look like a jaybird in that outfit. Your legs look like two ropes with knots tied in them. Look about 8 foot tall.
Be dad blamed if I'm going to wear it.
Why, Lum, you'll be a sensation. Now, Abner here is going to be the animal trainer. Get right in the cage with the lions, and you can be the trapeze performer in the main tent and the slim man in the sideshow. Yes, sir, men, we're all set.
Well, are the old fellows getting deeper into the circus business than they bargained for? Say, friends, I wonder how many of you remember the last time you were feeling miserable from just a common, ordinary headache. Or maybe some member of your family had one. Was it yesterday or the day before? If so, did you remember that Alka-Seltzer, the very same Alka-Seltzer you always rely on for fast, effective relief from occasional acid indigestion, is just as fast and effective when it comes to helping relieve headache pain? You will be amazed how soon you begin to feel better, and you'll agree there's nothing quite like Alka-Seltzer for fast, effective headache relief. Yes, depend on Alka-Seltzer. Always keep it handy at home and at work. And remember, when headache causes grief, misery can be brief. Take Alka-Seltzer for relief.
You don't need a dinner bell to tell you when it's time to eat. Your hunger tells you that. But vitamin hunger gives no warning, rings no bell. And vitamin hunger makes an amazing difference in the way you feel. To make sure they're getting enough vitamins, millions of people supplement their meals with a good vitamin capsule. And to make sure of prescription quality, of real economy, many of these millions take one-a-day brand multiple vitamin capsule every day. 8 different vitamins in each capsule. Starting today, take one-a-day brand multiple vitamin capsule every day. If you are vitamin hungry, it will make a big difference in the way you feel.
Listen again tomorrow and every day at this time, Monday through Friday, for Lum-n-Abner down in Pine Ridge, brought to you by the makers of Alka-Seltzer. Now, listen to it fizz.
June 3rd, 1948, Lum-n-Abner with an Alka-Seltzer commercial or two thrown in here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. By the way, these episodes of Lum-n-Abner supplied to us by Ted over at RadioMemories.com. He took the shows, cleaned them up real nice, and sent them to me, and you can get them too on cassette, CD, or flash drive for your computer. Just contact Ted, RadioMemories.com. Could I also ask you while you're doing it to thank this station and support their advertisers? It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around. Our shows are available through podcast, through Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. And you can also find them on my webpage, classicradio.stream. Stream our shows on demand. Learn more about Classic Radio Collecting. Contact me, and even buy me a Dr. Pepper if you want to. We've got a link there to a site called Buy Me a Coffee, but I don't drink coffee. I just like my Dr. Pepper. Funny that way, you know. Thanks for tuning in. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.